Hello, you. This is my camera confidence practice. So I would like to ask you to not watch this video because probably it won't be of any use for you. And also it can be very boring and I won't edit this video. So I'm making this video for the sake of improving in camera presence and also to improve or grow my English. And the last time let me adjust the camera a little bit. The last time I participated in this practice, I had an idea that I've done kind of like a summary of what I had been working on in that practice and what skills and what specific things I was trying to improve during that session or practice. And I thought that maybe it could be useful to improve my progress, to list all the things that I would like to improve and work on during this recording. So, without any further ado, let's dive into the list of the things that I would like to improve in this video or during these videos. Thing number one, I would like to focus on I would like to pay attention to the fact that I'm being recorded, so that the camera is on and it's recording me. So it's kind of like an environment of being recorded. So I want to be aware of that, and and that's it. So this is thing number one that I would want to pay attention to. Thing number two, I would like to slow down. I would like to not rush through this time, through this session, through this recording, and I would like to notice what's going on with me, with my body, and also externally, and with my thoughts during these sessions or during these recordings. Okay, thing number three is I want to pay attention closely to what's happening with me. So that is what feelings I have or I notice that appear in my body, what emotions I notice during this time, what happens with my thinking. So whether having a camera turned on or the camera turned on slows down my thinking, what happens with my thinking, what happens with my playfulness, with me being spontaneous. Is this the word? So I want to pay attention to that too. The fourth thing that I'd like to notice is that I am using English right now to express my thoughts. English is not my native language, but I really like it, and I'd love to become fluent in English. And this is one of the things that I'm doing actively to improve my English. So now I'm using English, and I will be using English throughout this video. And I want to pay attention to it too. So mostly four things that I would like to pay attention to. Be aware that I am right now being recorded by this camera? 2, what about my pace? What am I rushing through things, or am I participating in all that happens here slowly? 3, thing number 3 is that what happens to my body, to my emotional zone, or to the zone of my emotions and my thinking area, and external things, whether it's unsafe or safe here, what's happening. And 4th, thing number 4 is that I am using English. Wait a minute. I'm using English for these videos. Now, let's get to the actual bread and butter, to the actual meat of this practice, which is going through my Kindle notes that I have left or highlighted in the book called Tools of Titans, which I'm currently reading, and I find it very, very interesting. And let me adjust my chair a little bit. Okay, so the last quote or part of this book, piece of this book that I was thinking out loud about is this statement from Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't know how to say it correctly. Schwarzenegger. I hope this is correct. The worst thing you can ever do is think that you know enough. The worst thing that you can ever do is think that you know enough. Okay, I extensively tried to think about it. Then okay, the next 2 quotes, 2 highlighted pieces of text from this book is it? Okay, it's from Tim Ferriss. So the first one is, there are a lot of powerful quotes, but this book is much more than a compilation of quotes. It's a toolkit for changing your life. Sounds quite exciting. A toolkit for changing your life. There are many books full of interviews. This is different because I don't view myself as an viewer. I view myself as an experimenter. I like this approach. I'm guilty of reading books or reading articles or hearing some advice and putting it off, or putting it on the shelf and letting it rust, dust, probably not rust, maybe rust and dust and rust, and not applying new things that I learned. So, and I am really guilty of that. So I'm really trying to change the approach that I'm used to, that I was used to, is not taking action. I want to have the following ratio: 90% of action and 10% of theory the sizing, or maybe 80-20, NT20, something like that. And so this experimenter approach, or becoming an experimenter, where I'm actually taking some advice or some new input and trying to apply it or to test it, I really like it. I like it. I think that it's one of the most effective approaches to actually changing my life and improving it, having those improvements actually happen. If you can't test something or replicate results in the messy reality of everyday life, I'm not interested, he says. Everything in these pages has been vetted. I will save. Okay, I've saved this word already. Explored and applied to my own life in some fashion. So this phrase, in some fashion, I am not sure what it means. I think what the meaning I think about right now is that in some way, in some fashion. I've used dozens of these techniques, tactics, and philosophies in high-stakes negotiations, high-risks environments, or large business dealings. The lessons have made me millions of dollars and saved me years of wasted effort and frustration. They work when you need them most. So this is, well, I purchased this book, but this sentence, the lessons have made me millions of dollars and saved me years of wasted effort and frustration, sounds so promising. I would love to make millions of dollars, and I would also love to live an efficient life where there is more fulfillment and meaning in my life and less emptiness and time waste. So I am quite excited about it. And I've read like 60% of the book, something along these numbers, and I have made like, I think, more than 100 of quotes or highlights here. So I think that if I apply all those highlights that I've made already, I will probably change my life to the better, like in a very to the better, like orders of magnitude, probably. So great. These ones I am also curious about what the results will be of applying all that, but we'll see. So the lessons have made me millions. Tim Ferriss, he says that he's an investor. So, and there was a quite big portion of this book about investing and different strategies and tactics he applies and advice he had heard in the investment field, in the field of investments. And I'm not interested in investing, maybe only like in the form of S&P 500. So that portion of the book is not useful for me at this moment of my life. Let's get to the next quote. Oh, okay. I like it. So there is this quote that I highlighted. Judge a man but by his questions rather than his answers. And it's from Pierre-Marc Caston. And the topic or the title of this section is What Makes These People Different? And he writes that these world-class performers don't have superpowers. The rules they've crafted for themselves allow the bending of reality to such an extent, and bending of reality is, to me, it's a little too like, it's a cheap phrase. To bend reality. It's like some magical thing. Allow the bending of reality to such an extent that it may seem that way, that it may, to such an extent that it may seem that way, but they've learned how to do this, and so can you. These rules are often uncommon habits and bigger questions. And I like, so this thought or this tool or this, I don't know how to name it, that I heard from Tim Ferriss is that he finds asking the right questions a very effective way to navigate his life. Okay. Take, for instance, a question that serial billionaire Peter Thiel likes to ask himself and others. If you have a 10-year plan of how to get somewhere, you should ask, why can't you do this in 6 months? For purposes of illustration here, I might reword that to what might you do to accomplish your 10-year goals in the next 6 months if you had a gun against your head? Now let's pause. Do I expect you to take 10 seconds to ponder this and then magically accomplish 10 years worth of dreams in the next few months? No, I don't, writes Tim. But I do expect that the question will productively break your mind like a butterfly shattering a chrysalis to emerge with new capabilities. The normal systems you have in place, the social rules you've forced upon yourself, the standard frameworks, they don't work when answering a question like this. You are forced to shed artificial constraints, like shedding a skin, to realize that you had the ability to renegotiate your reality all along. It just takes practice. My suggestion is that you spend real time with the questions you find most ridiculous in this book. 30 minutes of stream of conscious journaling could change your life. I like journaling. I do this more rare this day, less frequent these days, but I also find that very helpful. On top of that, he writes, while the world is a gold mine, you need to go digging in other people's heads to unearth riches. Questions are your pickaxes and competitive advantage. This book will give you an arsenal to choose from, and I really like it. So what I do like is that, first of all, the question about if you have a 10-year plan of how to get somewhere, you should ask, why can't you do this in 6 months? And think seriously. I would like to think seriously on that. And I like how Tim puts it into this perspective that to answer this question, I will need to think outside the box. Let's use this cliche, but to think differently, to search for new ways to approach the things that I think about as normal, to how can I change my workflows to actually achieve those things. For example, for me, it can be hiring people and learning how to delegate some work or more work. And at this stage, I like how he puts this. And I think that I need to really try to answer these questions. And this question, what might you do to accomplish your 10-year goals in the next 6 months if you had a gun against your head? Well, I don't like this gun against your head because it's way too far. I really don't like when someone threatens my life. But the first question, if you have a 10-year plan of how to get somewhere, you should ask, why can't you do this in 6 months? This is a good question. This question I would like to apply because currently in my life, there is one huge area in which, or very important area in which I would like to have faster progress. And one of the parts of this area is improving my English skills, to putting them into the next level. So asking myself and also asking maybe some other people, like Jim, for example, this question. Okay, we've got this 10-year plan of how to get there. Why can't we do this in 6 months? How about this question? I think it's great. It's a great question. I don't think that I would like to have it this way, but also achieving 10-year results in 6 months is so I don't see the right answer and even the right direction for this answer to be in a rush. So we need to rush things to achieve our 10-year plan in 6 months. I think that rushing things out, I don't know, rushing things up, rushing things, it's not a good strategy. I think that, well, and this form, it's an extreme form. I could ask it differently. If we have a 10-year plan of how to get somewhere, we should ask, why can't we do this in 5 years or 3 years? Or it's like change the 6 months period to something else, and to another time period, which is much shorter than a 10-year period, but it feels realistic and doable. So something on the edge of being realistic and unreal. So that's how I would ask myself this question. If I have a 5-year plan of how to get to point X, why can't we do this in 2 years? I might ask. Let's do this in 2 years. Why not to do? Why can't we do this in 2 years? What's holding us back? What prevents us from getting there in 2 years? We don't have experience. Don't we have the experience? Or maybe we don't have. Maybe that's because we don't have. I don't know. Ambitions, or we don't ask ourselves these questions. Because I can do things like prolong things in unnecessary ways many times. I can do this. I can prolong things in not useful ways. But why wouldn't I do them in shorter periods? Especially if it feels better, if it makes more sense, if it's more interesting, if it's more challenging. But the last time I described 3 ranges, and range 1 is under, range 2 is just like the sweet spot, and range 3 is over. So I want to stay in the upper range of range 2, which is sweet spot. I'm pushing myself just like enough to have the right growth. And I think this question is can be a good question for the business plan. We have a 5-year business plan of how to get there. Why can't we do this in 2 years? I like it. And I think I'm going to end today's practice, camera presence practice. I am right now sitting in my room, and I'm looking directly at the camera, and I'm speaking English words. I'm using English words. I can hear myself. I can see that nobody is trying to kill me or to bring me down, that there is this wonderful, huge camera lens, and there is this red light on the Sony camera. I have this Sony ZV-10 camera, and also Sony's lens, which is 50 millimeter, I guess. And there is this microphone, and I'm sitting here thinking out loud about the things that are important to me, and I'm using the language that I like, which is English, and I already can use this language. I already know it well enough to use it completely, or to use it throughout this video to express my thoughts at the level which I find sufficient or satisfying or fulfilling. So I haven't stumbled upon things that I wasn't able to describe. So that's a good place. And nice quote. I think that I might extract a lot of value from it. And for today, that's it.